So in Pokemon Pocket, in the wisdom of Sea and Sky, they announced, or at least they released, baby Pokemon. Now, this is the first time that we've seen this with specific Pokemon cards, and that is a no energy kind of needed. It is a baby Pokemon with very little HP. It does give some sort of kind of analysis that you can get something back from them, but there is a chance that you get burnt quite quickly. So the big question is, should you be using them? Is this a good tactic to have? We've also got, I do love whenever you go on some of these, like if you've ever, if you've been a bit nerdy with the card art, sometimes you kind of remember where these come from. And I kind of vaguely remembered when you kind of look at a card and you think, I've seen the image somewhere. EX Team Rocket Returns, beautiful. But you have got the likes of Magby, you have Pichu, you have Elekid, Cleffa, and Tyrogue at the moment. I don't think I missed anybody out here. They are predominantly, I believe, only in the Sea and Sky. Whether we've seen any more before, I know Happiny should be one at some point, but I'm pretty sure she came a little bit later. So this is kind of where I've kind of started with them. Really to see, are they even worth doing? Are they worth having in your team? Because if you do get stung on a first turn attack, is it worth losing that straight off the bat? Now, obviously when we look at Magby, taking energy from your energy zone and attach to one of your bench Pokemon. You can buy battle passes and even coins from 100 all the way up to 58,000. There's also items and boosted available on Pokemon Go. When it comes to Pokemon Pocket, there's Pokegold that you can buy from the site, and also items such as trade-in from any stars from 1 all the way up to 3, and potentially more in the future. Elorado also offer money back guarantee and also 24/7 live support. If you need any further recommendations, Trustpilot have plenty of Elorado reviews that you can scan through and just check that this site is for you. And before you check out, make sure that you use the code POKEJT before you check out for 5% off your orders. That's going to be a risky kind of tactic to have if you don't necessarily either get the Magmar to go over it straight away, or you don't have any bench Pokemon. You're kind of laid in a bit useless there. So I would say for me that isn't necessarily worth it crazily. Obviously, if you do go into some of the Magmar cards that we've got, obviously if you go into all cards and if we search at the top, we've had a few Magmar cards. So there's definitely been a few where I'm like, okay, I can kind of get with that. Now, obviously, when it comes to the evolution point of view, you don't necessarily have to evolve these cards either. They're just basic in general, unless they have any needs to be able to evolve. When it comes to Magma, you can play it straight down as the basic. Now, obviously, with Magma, you've got the Magma Punch, Fire Blast. You've obviously got Stoke, which is always great if you are kind of adding to it. That's more to kind of put onto something else, more so than itself. Then you also have Magmortar, so obviously that's where the Stoke really comes in. And then you've got another one as well, which has come in. So really, I wouldn't say Magmar is going to be the greatest example. So Magby, unfortunately, really wouldn't be the greatest choice. Obviously, you have the two different arts. Beautiful artwork in the illustration. Love the work. But I would say Magby, for me, wouldn't necessarily be a go. One that has been thrown around a little bit is Pichu. Pichu and Elekid are probably the two that I would say I've seen more of. Not necessarily a crazy amount, but more of definitely. Taking an electric energy from your energy zone and attached to your bench. Very similar to Magby, but obviously with this, you've got more of a meta Pokemon in Pikachu. Pikachu has had so many good cards, and even then, just electric cards in general. From your OGs in Zapdos, going with the Thundering Hurricane, then obviously going with a Ranging Thunder if you really want to go that far, but then just going into the amount of Pikachus that we can find. There's so many that have a very good worth in them. From the very first Pikachu EX, then throwing it into the other one, the kind of normal Pikachu, and then even if you throw in a bit of Raichu as well, to be fair to it, I spelled that wrong, it's A. I always do that. I don't know why I always want to put I instead. But even if you throw in a bit of Raichu as well, some really nice cards. Obviously coming with the Alolan as well. Very, very nice to have that kind of go forward with it. Now, it's great if you're obviously going for the bench for that. It's not always needed, so it's a fair enough one. Now, obviously, this is kind of where we get into a bit more of an attack. The energy zone is great, but it does rely on you having something on your bench. If you get Pichu, that's it. No one on the bench, no Pokeballs. You just get Pichu and you get the worst hand going. I'm talking bad scenario. It's not going to happen every single time, I know, but it can happen, and that's what you don't want to leave yourself with. Whereas when we look at something like Elekid, Zappy Shot. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with no energy on it. Now, this could be great for a first time hit if they put like a Drudagon, for instance, in there. I know it's not necessarily ran as much nowadays, but if you've got like something in there with a Rocky Helmet, they need a few kind of attacks to go up. You can start kind of putting energies on your bench whilst Elekid starts planning off on their bench as well. It's kind of like a Hitmonlee, I think Hitmonlee, without having to use the energy. So it's not bad. It's a decent one to have in there. I would say Elekid would be kind of my more fan favourites out of it. When it comes to what we've seen with Electabuzz as well, I think with Elekid, I would possibly be looking more towards not needing Electabuzz to evolve. I'd kind of leave it as that. Obviously, you've got the Thunder Punch, Thunder Spear, and Charge. Nothing too crazy with it. And I think we've only had a couple of Electrovive, which again, isn't necessarily crazy. Like, it's good, it's okay, but it's not necessarily featured in the deck. We then have Cleffa. Put a random Pokemon from your deck into your hand. Fantastic. This, again, is what I can get on board with. It's brilliant if, again, you're in that shuffle where the deck's just not going your way. Put a random Pokemon straight in. You could start bringing all of them together as much as you can. Sacrifice that 30. Get the HP gone. It could be 1 or 2 turns. You might even get a cheeky, like, extra go in that to be able to then be able to kind of power up something else. It's, again, a risky hand to play. You don't necessarily need to have Psychic as well because there's no energy there. So, obviously, you don't need any Psychic going in, but it's just an extra bonus if you want to utilize that. So, again, another not bad one. Now, when it comes to, obviously, going with the other, the Cleffa, again, I don't think there's really one that I would kind of go with here. They're very, very substandard, to be honest. Nothing's going to go too crazy on that. So I'd probably be just looking at Cleffa, and that's really about it. Now, Tyrogue. Again, the like Elekid, but it's going to be on the attack this time. We're looking at our beautiful Slappy Knuckle. Love it. 20 attack, simple as you like. Very much like Elekid in terms of it does the damage, but it's just not going to be to the bench. Now, obviously for me, I would always prefer to go to the bench. There is more chance that they have a Rocky Helmet in the active spot. Again, they can do both. If you've shown your hand with Elekid, more than likely they will go the other way. They'll put the Rocky Helmet on the bench, so when you attack the bench, it should do 20 back. I don't actually know if it even does that or if it's just active Pokemon. I don't know, but regardless, if it does, they're going to work one or the other way. If you've got Tyrogue in there, they know you're attacking the active. If you've got Elekid in there, they know you're attacking the bench Pokemon. But in itself, it's pretty good. It starts the attack going. You could then potentially keep going with it and start to actually get some damage in whilst you power something else. Now, always remember, 30 HP is nothing. 1 Giovanni and a 1 energy attack, and you are absolutely done. So that's 1-0 straight off the bat. So it's got to be well worth having a look. Now, when it comes to looking at the Hitmonlee, Hitmontop, Hitmonchan, again, Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan have been standard cards throughout the ages of this. They've not necessarily been bad cards. Are we going to be able to search? They've not necessarily been bad cards. They've always been on the nose with it. The jab from Hitmonchan has always been pretty decent. Hitmonlee is very much like Elekid. We'll do the bench, get to the bench for 30. Absolutely brilliant. We obviously have got a Hitmontop. We have 2 of them. Spinning an attack for 50. And then we have the Piercing Spin. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Again, you can't go all bench, but it's always been a standard hit. But when it comes to your Machamps, obviously your Riolus into Lucarios, they've been pretty decent. Even Rhyperior being there. I don't know. No, it's not Bastiodon. Is it Bastiodon? No, he's Steel. Is he Steel? Yeah, he's Steel. Who am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Rampardos, I think. Another fantastic card, a head smash. There's been some great fighting types over the ages with it, so it's always been an interesting one to see. So whether I think you should have them, I think there's definitely a few that you can kind of avoid and possibly not worth adding a card to the deck. But most definitely, I do think some of them, and going forward, could have some really nice little plays in there that you just don't see every single time, especially Elekid, Cleffa, and possibly a little bit of Tyrogue as well. So let me know if you've managed to get any decks. Leave a link down below if you want to get me to kind of have a look through some. I'm still working on a 3 legendary dog deck. I really want to get them working, but they're just not quite incredible enough yet.